Done. Hello, everyone. I'm Yelena. This is our Cognos Analytics session 2. And after this session, you're going to get the recording and a copy of the slides. I'm going to email it to your faculty. And again, I'll be covering a lot of information. You will need to watch the recording and maybe parts of the recording more than once. All right? So here is the agenda for tonight. We're going to discuss the decision tree model. We're going to talk about dashboards and infographics in Cognos Analytics. We're going to talk about the stories. Then, this is a new topic, nested dashboard, that I start introducing this semester. And, of course, your questions and answers. All right? So, but before we do that, before we start, very important, please, I need to remind you, I might sound like a broken record here, but I need to say it. Please do not change your Cognos Analytics password. Well, the reason is me and Oscar, we need to be able to log into your account if any issue is reported, if we need to troubleshoot or something like that. We should be able to log in as you. Another reason is if you lose your password, unfortunately, there is no way to reset it without deleting your account. So please do not touch your password. Leave it alone, okay? Now, please do not work from data in the team content directly. I believe I edited the permission that you are forced to copy data to my content. Always copy data to my content first, and then use that data to do the work, okay? Please keep saving your work and open and close all the files that you have opened before exiting the application. And do not exit the application by closing the browser tab, because your session gets disconnected. Your session does not end as it should. And then you might not be able to log in for next 30 minutes. So please log out instead of closing the browser tab. Now, this is a big one. You need to use the Salesforce form in the classroom. Please do not call the UMGC help desk. They will not be able to help you. When you use the Salesforce form in the classroom, and when you select the correct case type, right, virtual lab, then you're going to get assistance very quickly within the same day. And sometimes, if you're lucky, within few hours, okay? But please make sure that you select the virtual lab as a case type and do not call the help desk. They won't be able to help. They're going to create something called a pre-case, and it might take up to 2 to 3 days for it to get to us. So please follow instructions, okay? And then for UMGC protocol, the accounts will be purged 2 to 3 weeks after class ends, but life happens. If you have an extension which is called incomplete, right? Please ask your professor to email me, and I need to know your name and the new due date, right? Like, for example, suppose the class ends this month and some of you have access until end of March. I need to receive that email from your teacher that you have access until end of March. Then I'm not going to touch your account. Because once an account is purged, all data is gone, right? You don't want to lose your work. So please, if you get an incomplete, ask your professor to email me and let me know. See, it's not that I know that grades are confidential, but I need to know if you need extended access. That's a UMGC policy, right? So please, don't forget. And then also please pay attention to course announcement, because occasionally the system is down for maintenance, right? So if that's the case, you're gonna be informed, all right? Or there might be some additional tips or maybe additional videos that will be created for you, okay? So now, this is also important. Some of you might be asking, where is the data for assignments 6 through 8? Oops. Okay, here it is. So I'm in Cognos right now, and I'm using the demo account. The account has the same privileges as your account. So what you will do, you're gonna go to the team content, see this folder data for data 605 assignments, and there is a folder called Units 6 through 8 assignments. You click here. There are multiple data sets that gives you choice. Pick one and use one for the remaining course assignments, right? So this is assignment 6, 7, and 8. You have a choice. You pick one and stick with it for 3 assignments. Okay? So you know where this is, right? It's not in the course content, it's in the team content in Cognos Analytics. Very important because some of you try to access the data in the team content in the classroom. No, it's it's not in the course content, it's in the team content inside Cognos Analytics, okay? So please remember that part. Okay, so this is the data that we're gonna use today. The same data as last time. It's a claims and weather data. It tracks the customer information such as demographics, right? The vehicle that the customer drives, and the type of claim, and we use that to estimate the total claim amount. All right, so we have a question. Oh, does anybody have an audio? Well, you need to connect to an audio, Mike. Mike, you need to connect to an audio. You might choose, I believe, well, you can choose between the computer audio or external. So that's a choice. It depends on your PC. Okay. So, well, this here is a screenshot of the data. And as you may recall, what did we do last time? We defined some filters to filter out the rows that are missing uh, the date, right? The S of date. Okay. Then we also did some missing values replacement, right? We also created some of the calculated columns and etc. The reason we created them in data module so that later tonight, when I create my dashboard, right, all of these calculations will be available for me. But before we look at the dashboard, there is one more topic that we need to cover, is a decision tree. Okay, so let's go back to where we stopped last time. We were looking at my content, and I'm going to claim and weather data exploration, right? So do you remember this? You have this driver analysis, and I mentioned that the one-way driver with the highest predictive strength is very important. Why? Because when you create your decision tree model, that's gonna be the column that will be used as a first split in decision tree. Remember? So do you remember we have location code, vehicle class, right? And see that's a bull-eye diagram. The higher is the predictive strength, the closer is the pin to the center. So this one is, in this case, is 38%. So you make a note which driver has the highest predictive strength, right? So now we're gonna go back to our decision tree model, right? So, and I have it. So now it remembers this here. Total claim amount, it's a continuous column, right? So we are predicting, basically we are predicting a number, right? So if I don't see it for some reason, let's do this. Let's create from scratch, right? Create single visualization, choose type, and I'm going to choose what decision tree? Do you remember that? I go in here and I select the decision tree. And do you remember that you need to specify the target? Target is a column that you're predicting. You can drag and drop the field, or you can just type it here. See, so I'm predicting total claim amount. I'm gonna close this one and I'm gonna minimize this. And I'm gonna do one more thing here. I'm gonna try to do the full screen because that way it's gonna be easier for you to read what I show, okay? So I'm gonna do full screen. Usually when I show this, I have to go to full screen. Okay, so what is this? What is a decision tree? Well, some people may refer to it as a flow chart. So basically, the whole idea is that suppose that I have a totally new claim, and I know the location, I know what vehicle the customer is driving, I know the person's demographic, I know type of accident the person had. How can we use this information to estimate the total claim amount, right? So here, this is our decision tree model. We read the decision tree from left to right. This here node represents all data. So if I hover, it's going to tell me that overall average total claim amount is what? 433.98. And it shows me the total number of records here, right? It's 100% of records. Please note that if your data set has more than 10,000 of records, it's going to be taking the random sample. So you might see slightly different results as you reopen the exploration. Okay, so if it's more than 10,000, it's going to be taking the random sample from the data. Okay, so here this is the whole data as a whole, right? Then what it's doing, it's going to look at location, right? And based on the location, it's going to take the branch. Like for instance, if the location is rural, right, it's going to take the pass at the top. And note that the color shade tells you the average total claim amount. In this case, the darker, the higher, right? So here you have this legend here. The darker the color, the higher is the average total claim amount. You see here, this node does not expand anymore, right? And all your nodes can be expanded and collapsed. I'm just going to collapse, right? Just for the demo, I collapsed everything. Sometimes it might be easier to read the portion that you're interested in, or if you want to take a screenshot, right, of the part that you discuss, you probably want to collapse things that you don't want to look at, right? But see this, like rural, we are done, right? Now suppose that it's urban, and how do I know that my node can be collapsed? Do you see this little like a bold line under the node? It means that it can be expanded rather, right? It can be expanded. So see this, I hover, and it's using the information gain. So it believes that it can look at another column to get more accurate estimate of average total claim amount. So see here, so far I have location code as urban. It expands. So it's thinking that, oh, wait a minute, vehicle class is going to add more information to it. Okay, so here is my rule here. I'm going to click on this node. I'm going to highlight it, right? It doesn't expand further. So this is called the leaf node or a terminal node. How do we read the rule? We go from here, from the root node. We say, okay, if the location is urban and the vehicle class is a four-door, two-door, that's our total claim amount. We're going to hover over that node and we're going to see the average total claim amount, right? Here we go. See, this is $280, but it also shows us the percentage of data to which the rule applies, right? It does not visualize the percentage of data, but it shows. You need to hover over the node to see the percentage, right? So now, but as you see, most of our data is for suburban, right? Suburban location is 63% of data. Average total claim amount for suburban. Then you keep going based on the vehicle class. You see that vehicle class is a driver that used for the second split. If it's a four-door, right? You're here and you keep expanding. See this? So here is my rule, for example. How do you read it? You start from the top and you're gonna say, okay, so location is suburban. It's a two-door, four-door, two-door vehicle, right? Coverage is basic and marital status is married or divorced, right? So this is the average total claim amount for this case. So see what I'm saying? You visualize the rules, you traverse from left to right. And you probably, in your assignment, you probably want to discuss several rules. Pick something that is interesting, okay? Well, in this case, in this specific data, there is not enough. There is only 3% of luxury cars. But if it's only 3%, it does not necessarily mean that the rule is not important, right? That probably means that it would have helped to have more data for analysis of luxury cars, right? So that's one of the perhaps future studies or study limitations that you can mention. It would have helped to have more data on luxury cars, right? Because here, well, we have only 3%, and you cannot just ignore the rules that are least frequent. It does not mean they're less important. On the other hand, at the same time, yes, you want to look at the rules that apply to the most data. All right? But there is another visualization here. This is called the sunburst. Sunburst shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies. So if you can see this, there are 3 segments here, right? So you can see that about 2/3 of the data falls into the suburban location code, right? So you have the urban and you have rural. As you see, rural does not expand further, right? Remember, when we looked at the tree diagram, that's it. Rural does not expand anymore. We are done here, right? Same thing here. See this? You don't see this bold line. Now, if you go to the suburban, you click here. Oh, then you're gonna see more layers here. See? This is as you expand the tree diagram, that diagram also expands. You see, as I collapse it, this diagram, the sunburst will also collapse. So here, what I see is that the percentage of data where the location is suburban and it's a 4-door car or 2-door car. See that when I hover, it's gonna give me the average total claim amount for this case. See? This is vehicle class 2 or 4-door car, but it's a vehicle class for suburban location. Because if you go to the urban location and expand it, right? This location also has a 4-door and 2-door vehicle class. But this 13% that you see here, it's for 4-door, 2-door vehicle class in the urban location. See that? Here the location is urban, and this is the percentage of overall data to which this rule is applies, okay? And you keep on going. So just remember this. A tree diagram visualizes the rules. Sunburst is a percentage of rules to which, it's percentage of data to which the rules apply. And you also have rules in English language, right? So this example of the tree diagram is for continuous number. Total claim amount is a number, right? There is no predefined set of values and no predefined values. It's a continuous number. However, it is also possible to have decision trees for the categorical columns, okay? Just an example, just for example, I selected the education level, right? So I'm gonna find it. Oh, employment status, sorry, employment status. So let's look at the decision tree for employment status. So I'm going to minimize this. So this is a tree diagram. Please note some similarities and differences. First of all, for the continuous number, you saw a single color, and the value, the estimated value it was shown in a different shape. Here, we are predicting an explicit category. See this, the employment status can be disabled, employed, medical leave, retired, or unemployed. Each category is going to have a different color code. And see, the tree can also be collapsed, right? It can be expanded and collapsed. And again, see this, the top node, it tells me the percentage, it sees this, it's the whole percentage of data, it's all data, right? Sorry, same number of records. But instead of showing me the average total claim amount like it did before, it's showing me the number of data rows with each employment status. See this, so for example, there are 405 disabled employees, right? 4% of data. Then see this employed, 5699, which is 62%, etc. So here it's showing me the number of records for each category, if you will, right? So I know that I have 5 possible values, and I know what those values are. So that's different. When you have specific values, it's going to be different color. for it, separate column for value. So now you're gonna see that it's income, and it's gonna discretize the income column. It's gonna bin it for you. So here we're looking at the income above 44K. The person is employed. That's it. It does not go any further, right? This is another range of income. That's it. It's also employed. But here is what happens when we have less than 28,000, right? So basically the color of the node, right, is you're looking at the dominant color of the node to predict the employment status. So here, well, I know the dominant color is unemployed, but wait a minute. The decision tree model believes we can do better. We can look at an additional column, right, to see if we can get more accurate. See what happens here? Here, it's using the marital status, and it says, okay, this is what's going to happen if income is under 25K and the marital status is single, right? So it gives me the percentage of data for each category. Well, I know that unemployed is dominant, but we are not done yet. The model believes we can do better, so I click again. Now we're looking at the response, yes or no. If it's a no, it's unemployed. I go again, right? And I keep going until I reach the terminal node. But wait a minute, why? I did not want to conclude that it's unemployed. Well, because, see this? It's looking at the effective due date right now. And if it falls here, then it's looking at the sales channel. And take a look at it. If the sales channel is agent, right, now it's retired. See this? So we could not conclude that it's unemployed because, do you see that it keeps on expanding further? So it believes that we can make a better classification, right? So this is how you would read this rule. If the income is under 25K, if the marital status is single, right, response is yes, and then effective due date falls into the date listed here, and the sales channel is agent, right? Then it's gonna be retired. Okay? But here, if the sales channel is web or call center, then it's gonna be on medical leave. See that? And those are effective due dates for unemployed. So see over here, back over here, we cannot conclude immediately that it's unemployed. The model believes that we can do better, and it keeps on looking at other columns. You see? So that's basically what it is. And similarly, you have the sunburst, which shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies, right? So for some reason, this income range, we are done. It's employed. Well, of course, it's understandable that if you're unemployed, you cannot make this much money, right? Here, the whole segment is red. Why is it red? Because most of the data that falls in here is unemployed. But wait a minute, we just saw that it's not the case, right? We keep on expanding and keep on looking at the percentages. See that? So this one is gonna be the percentage of data where the income is under the 25K and marital status is married or divorced, right? And we can keep going. So here, this visualization shows you the percentage, remember? Tree diagram shows you the rules, and you've got the rules in English language. That's a category. So you basically, when you have a new record, you're gonna try to see which rule it matches, right? And that's gonna be based on the rules that it matches. It's gonna be the employment status in this case. All right. So then also, if you look at this, you specified which columns. If you look at the fields, this is a column that you are predicting. in this data, we have less than 250 columns. If we had more than 250 columns, it would not use all columns as analysis. It will only look 250, but suppose that there is a column that you don't want to use. Then you would just go here, edit scope, and you would just remove the column from the scope of analysis, okay? That's what you would do. But one more thing, I forgot to tell you this. So basically, when it's splitting the nodes, right, when it's doing a split, it's also checking how many data is going to fall into the node. If you have under 25 records that fall into the node, it's not going to do the split. It's going to merge. So each node cannot have less than 25 records. And another condition is that you cannot have more than 36 nodes. That's a limit, all right? So it's going to try to find the best possible combination of drivers, all right? So you might be wondering why I'm showing you the categorical, because if you look at your dataset options for assignment 6, 7, and 8, there are some dataset where the target is categorical and very interesting data. So, okay, so just know that it's very similar but different. The main difference is that you see the different color for each category, right? Whether in a continuous you saw the different shade of the same color, all right? And another thing is that please take a note that this is data exploration. I'm looking at data exploration now. There are a bunch of cards in here, right? But there is no way, if I select any card, there is no way to actually go in and change the properties, right? If I click on properties, I cannot select the color, for example, right? I cannot do that. I'm limited, right? Because I'm where in exploration. The purpose of exploration is to get insight from the data. That's not something that you're going to present to your manager. There is no way to select a specific, perhaps go to one of the visualization and maybe select the specific state and filter the rest of the visualization by state. No, it's not possible. I cannot add text. I cannot add any widgets, right? And I cannot add any nested dashboards, right? I cannot do anything. This is just mainly to get insights about your data, right? So you may have noticed that you have something called pins. What is pins? Pins are visualizations set aside, okay? So for example, suppose that I have some visualization that I want to use later when I add my dashboard, right? Right, so this is a visualization, suppose it, and I want to use this visualization in my dashboard. What do you need to do is you just need to click on a pin, right? And you need to pin that visualization. Oops, for some unknown reason when I am in a, okay, here it is. You just pin it, okay? And this will add this to here. And I have the whole video on pins where I showed you how to filter pins. Like, for example, you can filter what you added the past months, right? Over the last months, what you added earlier, or something that I added today. I added just one today, right? Suppose that you have 1,000 pins, 100 pins, and you don't remember which one you're looking at, but you know that you created it today. So you can just select today, or you can select yesterday, or you can select past week, right? See, so you can filter it. Or also, if you remember the name, you can search by name, right? You can search pins by name. Okay, so pins of visualization set aside. So just remember this for the next part. I'm gonna go back to the slides. Okay, still sharing. And I need to go back to the slides. Okay, a lot of the stuff that you'll see here is what I showed you. I just spelled it out what the decision tree are, right? So this is just the spelling and you're gonna get the slides, okay? And we discussed this, right? We discussed Those are the rules. We talked about the sunburst, right? I'm just showing you where the slides are. So that way you can have the slides in front of you as you watch the recording, right? So dashboards. Why do we create dashboards? We want to present insights about our data. They're gonna have the visualizations and different widgets, and you can change the visualization appearance properties. You may add grid lines, etc. Right? And you might add text, and you may reuse visualizations. Then the dashboards have a view mode and an edit mode. Edit mode is when the dashboard is editable, and view mode is you're previewing it as a user, let's say. If you use the same data source to create the visualizations, you can select one data point in one visualization, and all in the same data point will be selected in the others. I'll show you. All right. Then I know that you cannot delete, right? Deletions cannot be undone, but inside the dashboard, you may undo, redo the latest, I believe it's up to 20, either 20 changes or until you reopened the file. But if you make some change, if you save the file and close it, when you reopen it, you won't be able to undo, all right? But you may undo some changes that you made after reopening the file. And we're gonna create the dashboard now. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you introduction so that you know what we are doing, right? There are multiple ways to create dashboard. Okay, so let's close this out. Some people like to use the new menu. Some people like to do that. Click here, new, and do dashboard. And select dashboard. Well, that's fine, but if you do it this way, then you will have to specify the data source, right? But here you need to be careful because you're only working with the files that are in my content. It's very important. You're not going to be able to create dashboard from data in the team content. Only my content, okay? So here's my claims and weather data module. I know that this is a data that I want to use to create my dashboard. Why do I need to make my life complicated? Why don't I just go here, click on this menu, and select create dashboard? And if I do it, it will automatically pick up the data that I want to use for my dashboard. Isn't that nice? Okay, but wait a minute, there are two types of dashboards. Infographic is a long page, just one page, and you put visualizations on a page, and you might even add a nested dashboard to the page if you want, right? But the reason we are not using the infographics, we're using tab dashboard, is because we will save the dashboard as a story eventually, okay? But for the tab dashboard, as the name says itself, you have multiple tabs, right? You can have one or more tabs, and you may apply the filter to the whole dashboard, or you may apply the filter to specific tab, right? So that's a free-form layout, and those are the predefined layouts. Why would you want to use predefined layouts? Well, the plus side is that the panels can resize based on your screen size. And you can just snap the visualization and it can fit the panel size. But remember this, the more visualizations you put on a tab, the longer the page might take to load, right? In most of the cases, I like 2x2. I say in most of the cases because there will be a case tonight when I do just 2. Okay. Later tonight, there will be the case when I use this one. But for right now, let's select this here, right? Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click on create. So that's gonna create a new dashboard. And please take a look in here. Do you remember last time we created the selectable filters, the filters that I can apply to visualizations as I want to? But if I did not put the descriptive name for that filter, there was no way to know what that is without going back to data module. So what is this here? This is the data that we use to create the dashboard. See, it automatically picked up. I did not need to search and specify. All right, so that's my data module. This is what the data that was used to build the data module. Then, do you remember we created some data groups, right? It's still here. Any calculations that we created in data module will be available here. Any calculations that we created in data exploration is not going to be available here, right? Why? Because we did not create it in data module. So if there is some calculation or anything that you want to use in your dashboard, you need to create them in data module, right? And now we have to save. Out of habit, I clicked on the save button, but I didn't tell you what I was gonna do. Okay, I click on the save. Now, well, I can just say car dashboard. I'll just say that. But why do you think about it? Why do you think a save button is grayed out? Well, because take a look at this. I have my content and I have a team content. Yelena set up the permissions that nobody can save anything in the team content. So what you do is you select my content. You can only save work to my content, right? Because see, you don't want the entire anybody who has access to the university to see your work, right? And it's gonna be a mess, right? It's gonna be a clutter. So that's why everybody saves the work only to my content. All right? Save. It's gonna save to my content. See that message says the dashboard was saved. All right? So this is just the data, different icons shows different data type. Right? So that's a filters area. The area where you define filters to the top and for the entire dashboard. Let's just minimize this area for right now. I mentioned the properties. The properties that you see are based on what you're currently looking at. At the moment, I don't have any visualizations. I just have the tabs. The first tab, and I can add another tab. And when I add another tab, I have choice. I can keep the same layout or I can select a different layout, right? I'll just keep the same for right now. So I've got two tabs here, right? At any time, I can edit the title, right? Or I can also, I can change the template. I can change at any time, all right? Of course, I will have to move around my visualizations. That's understood, right? Okay, so now I made some changes. How do we know that my change was not saved? Because you see this asterisk. If you see asterisk next to the file name, it means that you have not saved the latest change. Click on a floppy drive, right? So now let's look at the properties. At the moment, we're looking at the properties of the dashboard itself, of the canvas, right? So you can change the positioning, you can change the page properties if you want to show the grid. Then you can go to the tab labels and you can change the position of the tabs, right? See this, you have top, left, bottom, and right. I'm gonna keep it the same, but I'm gonna change the title color to red, right? And then selected color is green. Sorry, I don't mean to make a traffic light, but I just wanted to show you that you can change the properties of the tabs, okay? And I can change the fill color, etc. So those are the properties for all tabs. It's also possible to specify the properties for individual tab. So see that? So I can override, I can change a title color, I can change the icon. All right, at the moment there are no icons, but I'm going to select something just to show you that I can change properties of both tabs or I can change the properties of a single tab, all right, and etc. I'll let you play around with this, but you know that it's possible to play with the properties of the tab, all right? So now I will show you how to add visualizations. Close this. I'm on the first tab. There are multiple ways to add visualizations. Of course, we can go to pins and we can add the visualizations from the pins, right? So I want to put it here. There we go. See, that's one of my pins. I added it straight here. Or I want to add a brand new visualization. How do I do that? I would have to go to my visualizations here, and I would have to find the visualization in the library, and I want to do the pie chart, and I'll show you some properties of the pie chart that you can play around with. So I selected the pie chart. Now what? Do you remember that you have to specify the fields, right? What are you visualizing? And if you see this asterisk, it means that you must specify something to see visualization, right? So here, what I'm trying to do, let's say I want to see the percentage of customers in each state, right? So what my segments are gonna be? The segment has to be the state, of course, right? So I can drag and drop, or I can just select. And what is the size? Size is the number of customers. So I'm going to drag and drop the customer, but here I have to do an extra check here. So when I click here, when I go to summarize, what is it summarizing? It's summarizing count distinct. Why is it important? Because one customer can have multiple claims, right? So if I'm looking at the distinct, I'm gonna be looking at the number of customers, right? The percentage of customers. If I was looking at the count, I would be looking at the claims. See that because one customer may have multiple claims, so we have to keep this in mind, right? To summarize, count distinct in this case, because I don't care if somebody has 5 claims. I want to look at the customers. Okay. So now, if you look at some of the readings on visualization, the purpose of the pie chart it is to show percentage of the whole. Is it doing it now? No, it's not, right? Let's select it here. This is called visualization in a focus mode. I selected it just to see it better. So now what? I'm going to be looking at the properties. When I go to my properties, first of all, you can change the colors if you want, right? Then, well, available data, this is the data that you're showing. In this case, it shows the number of customers, right? But what I want to do is I'm going to modify the chart properties, and I want to enable display the percentages because I want to see the percentages, right? That's the purpose of the pie chart. If I wanted to see the numbers as well, Jesus, if I click here, it will show me the data that is being visualized. So see that way I can see both, right? I can see percentages and actual counts. If I want to, I can just see the data being visualized. See this? This is similar to what you saw in explorations. You can see the data that is being visualized, okay? Then there are additional properties of the pie chart that you may look at. Like for example, I can make it show as a donut. Oh, but then in the middle, you see the total number of customers. See that? So that's a pie chart. The properties that you have are going to be different for different visualization type, right? And you can also edit the title, right? So if I double click on the title here, I'll see that it shows me the text details. I can edit the text details here or in the toolbar at the top, right? Like for example, I want to make it 18 and I want to make it bold, etc. So I'll let you play with these properties of the pie chart, right? So there are other ways to add visualizations are, well, you can use assistant. Do you remember this little guy that you played with in your assignment, right? You can use assistant to add visualizations here. You can add visualizations from pins. You can also copy and paste existing visualization and modify the columns that are used to visualize, right? So there are multiple ways. So let's go back to the slides. So here I'm showing you how to create dashboard. I explained tab versus uh Jesus. So we're gonna go with tabs, but if you want to look at infographics at your leisure, go for it. Okay. So this is about the templates. I like 2x2, but it's my preference. So this is just I'm just explaining the different interface portions. Oh, I forgot to show you where undo redo is. These two guys are undo redo. Okay. And similar for each visualization, so you can pin it. If it's a visualization that you want to reuse, you can pin it. Oh, this is just to show data that is being visualized, right? You can also see it here. Show and then hide, right? You can see related visualizations and etc. Right? This one is just you can do, oh well, drill through. I will have to check this. This is really interesting. Okay. You can enter the full screen, etc. And you can duplicate this and more. Okay, so that's a visualization here. And again, I have a second tab, but on a second tab, the visualizations, you don't have to keep the same layout. It's up to you, right? And I mentioned earlier that you can add widgets, right? So one of the widgets, it can be the text, like for example, but please, please, please do not let other students see this part of the video because they're gonna be mad at me, okay? I love data 605. But please, please, please do not share this, okay? Because they're gonna say, hey, you don't like us, it's gonna be a little bit. Okay, so this is a text, and you may change the properties of this text, okay? Like for example, I can change the text color, right? I can make it bold, and mostly the properties of the text. Or there are also general properties where I can define the fill color if I want, right? And then I can do the border color, something like that. You can also add images, but note that you cannot copy and paste the image directly, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this, like this, right? And you're gonna put the URL. How do you get the URL? Well, this is the Chrome, and in Chrome browser, it is easier. Let's do that. Let's just search for this. Let's say I want to do oxygen pictures, right? Pictures. Okay, I'm gonna looking for the picture of an oxygen, and let's say this is my oxygen. You click on this image, right? And then you're gonna do this open image in a new tab, and it's supposed to show you the image URL. Sometimes it does, sometimes it, oh yeah, it does. See this? This thing here ends with GPG. See this? It shows you the image URL. You go Control A, Control C, right? And now you're gonna go in here, and you're gonna paste this URL. Enter, and see now it shows the image. So each browser is different, but this is Chrome. So I just did a search for the image, then I clicked on the image and I right click and I selected to open it in a new tab, right? It's here. And then I just copied this URL. That's it. So you cannot copy and paste the picture, but the picture must be on the web and you need to specify its URL. All right. Okay, you can similarly add a video. You would just need to put a YouTube link to the video, or you can add the shapes. And we're going to save this piece here for the last. After we cover the stories, we're gonna do this advancing, okay? I promise I'll do it, but okay. Oh, it says here some widgets are outside the canvas. This is not an error, this is just a warning because this image is too large. It does not fit into the same panel, but that's okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. Let's save this. Okay, this is not an error, this was a warning. That's fine. All right, so that's a dashboard. That's the basic things, but I'm gonna show you more stuff. I am going to show the filter demo next, right? So let's go to the slides. Okay, so this is just how to save the dashboard. You saw that, right? You saw the tab properties, and I showed you there are multiple ways to add visualizations. We talked about how to add visualizations from scratch, right? This is called visualization in a focus mode, when you basically maximize the visualization, right? You specify the fields and you can specify the properties. And I showed you the properties of the pie chart, but you can play around. Like, see here the pins. Pin is a visualization set aside, remember? Okay, promise me that you're not going to show this slide, right? Now, this is how to add an image. Okay, now we're going to look at the filters. Filters are next. So I'm going to close this, and I created the filter example here. So what is this? This is a dashboard. On the first tab, I have the state code and total claim amount, right? Here, it's just a different way to show the average total claim amount and by the state. I'm doing it intentionally, so that way I can show you what happens when I filter one tab or when I filter everything, okay? I hope it makes sense. So this is a second tab, right? So now what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I have to be in the edit mode. I cannot apply the filters if I'm not in the edit mode, right? So I'm gonna go to the data source, because I have to select the field from data source. And let's say I'm going to do the state code. And I'm going to put it in all tabs. And I'm going to select this Iowa and Missouri. I selected two states. I click done. Watch what happens. All the data gets filtered only for those two selected states, for the states that I have selected, right? So now I'm going to go to the tab 2. Oops, same thing, see? My data was filtered only for the states that I have selected. So now what? Okay, I can delete this filter, right? And you see this filter on both tabs, and you can also see the values were specified. See, they're here. Now I'm going to delete the filter, and instead I'm gonna put it right here, state code. And I'm going to select Oklahoma and Iowa and Kansas. All those three done. This tab is filtered, but when I go to the tab 2, as you see, I still see all of my states here. See that? I still see all of them. It did not quite filter. See, I go to the tab 1, I see only 3 states. But when I go to the tab 2, see, unless you explicitly filter this specific visualization, there is no filter, okay? And same thing here. See, there is no filter. It's showing me these 5 states. That's it, right? But another thing that you could do, let's go back to this tab, and let me remove this filter here, delete filter. What I mentioned earlier is that when I select one data point, like for example, suppose that I select the Missouri state here. Missouri will be selected in the rest of the visualization, but only on the same tab. It will not do it on the other tabs. It only does it on the same tab. See that? I selected Missouri, and it's going to select, I unselected, see? I can select the data point in one visualization, and the same data point will be selected in the other visualizations. That's what I meant, because the visualizations on the same tab are connected. But I can also, if I wanted to, I can also break those connections, right? But in this case, they're connected. See this? If I click here, if I select disabled, for example, it will adjust. See, I selected Iowa and disable, it's gonna adjust accordingly, right? You select one data point again, and it's gonna select the same data point here. These widgets are connected. So if I click here, do you see this? It says that both of these, you see this number 1, it means both of these belong to the same group. There is a connection. But what I could do is I could also break the connection, right? So see here, I can create new connections, so I can break it. See this? So now what's gonna happen, if I unclick this, if I select Missouri, see this is no longer connected. They're no longer connected. I disconnected them, see? You can break connections between widgets, see? Like for example, if you had two visualizations, if you wanted to see them side by side for a different state, right? Then you would have to break the connection, because the moment you select Missouri in one visualization, it will select Missouri in the other, right? So I had to break the connection. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna undo, because I want them connected again, see? So the widgets on the same tab that use the same data source are connected, just remember that, okay? And I'm going to unfilter, just return it to the way it was, okay? That's about filters, that's about the connections, but we will see the connections topic further later when I'm going to be showing you the nested dashboards, okay? Now, but then also for you, I created another dashboard. This is a claims and weather dashboard. Let me see. Okay, so this is a dashboard that I'm going to be using for next example. I have 4 tabs in here. On the first tab, I just have a text and I have an image. Remember, you cannot copy and paste the image. You need to specify the image URL. This one, I just have, this is my homework 6, right? It's a week 6 assignment where, well, just pretend that I was your classmate, that I was doing my assignment 6 on decision trees for total claim amount. So I was just gonna reuse my findings and put them in one of the dashboard tab, right? And then, well, the good way to get started is probably you want to look at the drivers and do visualization for those drivers. Then you probably want to look at the customer demographics, all right? So, well, here what I did was I did the overall average total claim amount. Then I kind of looked at the average total claim amount for the location code, so that what this table is here. But I could do a little bit better. I could do, I'll show you what I did in the other visualization to make it look nicer. But see, this is just, this is a table visualization, so I'm listing the location code and I'm doing the average total claim amount for location code. All right, this is another one. But what I did, let's take a look at the properties. Oh, I have to be in the edit mode. I can't look at the properties because you cannot edit it, right? Oops, how do I know? See this, if this green button here, if it says green, it means that you're in the edit mode. And now let's take a look. Let's click on this, all right? And I'm gonna look at the properties. What have I done here? So I wanted the summary color, right? That's the color that I want to see the summary, right? This here. Oh, and the fields, I forgot, I should have started with that. What I'm doing, my columns are vehicle class and my rows are location code. And then I have the summary row, right? Properties, so here, available data. Here I'm looking, I'm doing the total claim amount. See this? Values, average total claim amount. But in the properties, what I did was I added the rule. You just click on add rule, right? But for the rule, you can specify how you want to show. See this, first of all, the rule type, you want to make sure you want to select value is. Then I say this, if value is less than 150, I want to show text in green and I want to show this down arrow. Then my other rule is this here. If the value is greater than 1,000, I want to see the up arrow. So that's one of the properties that I did here, right? So that's one, but there are more. In the chart, you can specify the column width and the row height. I did not change in this case, But what I could have changed is this. When I go to fields, right, in the values here, I can go to format data, and I want to format those as numbers. And I can specify number of decimal places. This is what I did in the last visualization. So I want number of decimal places 0. It kind of like looks a little bit nicer, right? That's it. And also, well, missing values. Why missing values? Well, it's quite possible that there are no two-door cars in a urban location, right? But this is what do I want to see if there is no data that applies to specific cell? So I'm just going to put NA. So if there is no data that, if there are no two-door cars in urban location, just an example, it will show NA here. So here you specify what you want to see if there is no data that applies, okay? All right, so those are the properties, and I change these properties on this visualization. I change those. Okay, so trust me, I did the same, follow the same steps. All right, do you see this NA? Because I did not want to show the long, ugly message that there is no data, yada, yada. I can specify what I want to see. To see that in here, in urban location, right, a premium coverage, there are no luxury cars. See? So we cannot calculate average total claim amount here because there are no cars. Okay, there are no records, no data for luxury cars, no claims. All right, that's the second tab, and that's the other tab. I just did a bunch of pie charts. So now I have 4 tabs in this dashboard. But what I don't have is that I don't have an animation. I cannot say, hey, I want to look at the first tab for 5 minutes. I want to look at the second tab for 7 minutes, something like that. I don't have it, right? What we need to do is next step would be to create the story. So first I saved it, right? And let's see if we covered everything in the slides. We covered this. We covered filters, right? Story. This is the next topic. What's a story? Well, there are 2 layouts. The first one is like a slide layout or a guided journey. Slide is similar to PowerPoint presentation. And you have a numerous visualization. And within the same slide, you can specify when each visualization becomes visible, right? Like for example, in here, I have 4 visualizations. Maybe I want to see the first one only for the first 5 seconds. Then I want to see those 2 for 10 seconds, and I want to see this one, etc. You can specify when individual elements of the, it's going to be called a scene in a story. Right here is the top story is going to be a scene. So when the individual elements within the scene are visible, right? But here is the way to cheat here. You're going to promise me to do a great job on assignment 7. You're going to have well-developed, well-planned dashboard. Once you do that, for the assignment 8, this is what you will do here. You go here, save, and see this, save as a story. See this, you did a lot of work. I'm going to select the slideshow for now, and I'm going to click on select. What will it do? It's going to create a story. By default, it's going to take the dashboard name and it's going to prefix with the word story. See the story claims and weather dashboard. Make sure that my content is selected. Otherwise, if you select team content, you won't be able to save anything. Elena took care of it, right? So we're going to go to my content and we're going to go to click on save. Let's see what's going to happen. This is our story. So I numbered this intentionally because I wanted to show you that each tab in the dashboard is going to be a scene in a story. See this? There are 4 scenes in here. Are we done? Not really, because we will have to specify the animations, right? But before we do that, let's take a look. Aha, do you see this? Filters, this works similar to the dashboard. You can define the filter that applies to all scenes, or you may define the filter that applies to the single scene, right? Let's close this out to have more space. What else is in here? You have pins, so you have access to the visualizations that you pin. If you were going to add additional scenes and add those visualizations, all right? Then what else do you have in here? That's the data that you used. And please notice that, again, this is a filter that is selectable, and there is no way to know what is defined if I did not use the descriptive name. So see all those calculations that we created? It's available here. Why? Because we created these calculations in a data module. And similarly, you can use assistant to add visualizations, you can use pins, or you can add brand new visualizations, right? And you can add widgets, right? Widgets right here. So, but what else we could not do? So I'm gonna pick one of the slides here. I'm gonna pick one scene. So this is a scene. And what we'll do is we're gonna look at the animation within the scene. So I'm going to click here and this will open the timeline. This scene has 4 objects. See this? 1, 2, right? 2, 3, 4. 4 objects. This is a timeline. By default, the duration of the scene is 5 seconds, but we can change it just by drag and drop the edge. So see this, if I drag and drop this edge, I'm extending the scene duration. See that? Like I want the first object to be visible from the beginning and for 6 seconds. So that's how I did it, right? I suppose that I want the second object to be visible after 2 seconds, right? So what I do is I drag this edge here. Oh, and also, in addition to specifying when I want to see it, I can click on the animation properties. So see that it says start with, I can put, let's say, 2 seconds. And the animation type, I can select the slide in, right? So that's an animation type. I can select how things appear and how things disappear. Right now, it shows for the first until second 5, right? And when we reach this time, it's gonna exit, right? So we can specify the time when the object exits, and I can specify how I want to exit, like scale out. I just select it to show you. It's gonna be up to you when you actually do it, but I'm showing you what can be done, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do it like this, and I want to play, to preview what's happening. See how it shows and see how it disappears. See? I didn't specify how I want the other to disappear, but I specified how I wanted this top to disappear. Well, I can go and I can select, right? So I selected this, and I'm gonna go to animation, and I want to go to exit, and well, I can do something this, right? You saw it, right? You just saw quick preview, and I can go to this one, and I can go to animation, and I can select something different. See this visualization property, it's gonna add the animation tab when you are in a story. So for the animation, I'm just gonna do expand out, and you saw, right? You just saw it. If I preview this whole thing, right? Preview this thing, you saw what's happening. Oh, I should have scrolled up to show the first one. I had to scroll up just to show this. I'm gonna go play, and you saw how things appear, disappear. So you can specify the time and the animation type. In this case, I selected just the slides, okay? All scenes are in a slideshow. But I could also select the guided journey, okay? And I can select the layout. The reason I like this layout is because you can see all your slides, all your scenes on the same page. So see this, if I click here, it's gonna show me all my scenes. That way I can play around, I can do the zoom, I can take a picture of this whole thing and show it to my professor. Say, hey, here it is. This is the stories that I created. I have this number of scenes and etc. Okay. And by the way, when you create the stories, I believe you'll need to do the presentation to not just you do the minimum. Try to take advantage of the stories capabilities such as colors, right? Different type of visualizations, adding text, adding images. Try to, let's say, take advantage of the stories advantages, let's say, right? Don't do just the minimum. Go a little bit more than the minimum. All right. So see that, and then this one is just going to be different when you preview. You go here, and there is a properties that you need to change. Where I want to play all scenes when I do the preview. So I'm selected the first scene, and I can just go up. I can just go play, right? You can play it, and then you're gonna play next, etc. Well, I did not specify any animation for the first one, right? I did not select play all, but see, I navigated to the next one and I do play. You saw what happens? Oh, that way it's easier to show that I specify the animation type, how the visualization can exit and how the visualization can enter, right? So that's gonna be for you. If you're doing the recording, just think about it. Perhaps you have 4 visualizations, right? Maybe you spend 3 minutes to talk about the first one. Then in 3 minutes, you're going to have the next one, all right? You carefully plan time. You may need to record more than once. Trust me, you may need to record more than once, okay? So, basically, that's the main difference for the stories. You specify the stories timeline and you play around with the timeline, all right? And you may also add the new story from scratch, but then it's going to be a lot of work. All right, so here, if I go back to the home page, right? See this claim on weather data exploration. Somehow I don't see the option. Oops, not exploration, sorry, data module. For some reason, see, I have create edit data module, create exploration, but I don't see the create story here. So the long way you would have to do this. You would have to go here, new, and it's going to be a lot of work now because, well, first, yes, you specify what type of template you want, right? You want the slideshow, but now what? Whoa, whoa, it's a lot of work. You cannot just go in and add visualization because you didn't specify what data you're using. So you have to go here and you have to select the data source. See that? So this is a lot of hassle. It's not what I like to do, but you will have to select the data source. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what did I save it? Where did I save it? Immediately, you will be tempted to use something from the team content, but you won't be able to. Yes, I made sure that it does not work. See, I made sure that you cannot do it. You can't. Okay, so that problem is solved. So you would have to go to my content. Then you would need to find the data that you want to work with, right? Claims and weather data module. I'm glad I only have like 3 files here. Add. And you would have to define the templates and etc. You would have to add all of the visualizations either from pins or from scratch, but this is kind of like a lot of work, right? I would say do a great job in assignment 7 and reuse it. And then maybe you need to add a couple more things. That's it, right? But it's not doing the whole dashboard from scratch. I don't even want to save it, so I'm just gonna go click out, close without saving. I don't want to even think about it, all right? So now what? Let's see if I covered everything on this topic, and I'm gonna do. Okay, so this is about the story template, right? I put the difference, and this is just editing the timeline. And I believe I may have created a video on editing the story timeline, right? So that's a scene timeline. I'm using a different scene in this screenshot, but the same, but it's the same idea, right? And here are the steps to save the dashboard as a story. Okay. So, and this is just shows you that the tab in the dashboard corresponds to the scene in the story. But watch out, make sure that you're totally done with the dashboard, because after that, any change that you make to the dashboard after you saved it as a story, it will not apply to the story. So make sure that you're totally done before you do that, okay? So this is a new topic. Nested dashboard is a dashboard inside the dashboard. And you can also add the nested dashboard inside the story if you want. So let me close this out and close this out, and I'll show you an example that I created. So, oops, 1 second. Tab dashboard example. Okay, so here is what I have. On the right-hand side, I have this visualization that shows the average total claim amount by location type, right? See, this is the coverage type and a vehicle class, right? So this is a visualization, and I can see my summaries. See this, so I have the summary for, I have overall summary, and I also have a sub-summary. So this one is a summary for the rural location and a four-door car. See this rural location and a luxury car. So the whole idea is that I want to keep this chart here as a reference. And at the same time, I want to look at my visualizations for different columns here. I want to look at the location code by itself, but while I'm looking at that, I want to still see this visualization on the right. So what I did was I added this dashboard. I have to be in the edit mode. What is this here? This is a dashboard. How did I do this? How did I add this dashboard? I went to the widgets and I drag and drop this control. So this control here, this is the nested dashboard. It's gonna add a dashboard inside the dashboard. And then you just add the tabs, okay? You just add the tabs. See this? Is this tab? This tab? This tab, okay? I added these 4 tabs. So I can still see this big visualization here, right? Okay, let me see, let me close this area. See, I can still see this big summary chart here while I am navigating through this. See this? I can look at different vehicle class, the average total claim amount by vehicle class. So I have this, and at the same time, I have this, see? So I can do my comparisons here. See this? Then I also added the marital status. What I could do is this. Look, here I mentioned earlier that visualizations on the same tab are connected. So this dashboard here, right, is on the same tab as this big visualization. Why? Because it's in the same tab of the outer dashboard, right? So what I could do, take a look. I selected merit in here, and now all this chart in here will be adjusted for merit. This visualization should be adjusted for merit. I can select this data point here, and now I can look at my data only for merit. See? So that's one thing. Or I can look at the single, only at single. And this whole visualization here on the right got filtered for single. You see, I'm looking, I have this visualization here, right? I have this here. And at the same time, I'm looking at the visualization on the right. See, I'm using the visualization on the right as a reference while I'm browsing through different tabs. I'm going to unfilter it, see? Unfilter by marital status, and it also unfilters the visualization in the right by marital status. See, this tab dashboard is on the same tab as this total claim by location visualization. See, this total claim by location and vehicle class, those are on the same tab of the main dashboard. This thing here is nothing but a nested dashboard, and you may have up to 3 levels of nesting. See? See, the outer dashboard has 2 tabs, average claim amount and decision tree, right? So that's like this. And on the first tab here, the layout is is only 2. Remember, there was a layout, one of the layouts where you have 2 panels. That's what I selected here. Then I just put this. See this? It's an employee status, and I can just select. For example, I select disabled, and the whole thing here is going to be adjusted for disabled. And do you remember NA? That's because I specified that I want the missing values to show as NA. In this case, missing value means that there are no records, no claims in an urban location for extended coverage type luxury cars for disabled employees. That's how you would read it, because this here visualization is going to be, it's filtered by employment status, right? This will be filtered by employment status because that's what I did here. So I can look at it. I still have this visualization and next to me, and I can look at it. I can further drill down. See, I selected just employed, and it's going to be adjusted only for employed. You see, those 2 visualizations got adjusted in this visualization because secretly they are on the same tab of the outer dashboard. And again, to create this in the dashboard, I use this widget. You just drag and drop, right? And then you similarly add those tabs. So see, like if I was going to do it from scratch, right? See this? I can select the template, create, and this is how you would do it. You would drag and drop, and then you keep adding the tabs, see? That's how you would do it if you were gonna do it. But I'm gonna undo this change now because I don't want this to be part of this example, okay? But I showed you how to do it. Go a little bit beyond. And I did some testing. When you actually export this as a story, this nested dashboard will stay. And I did more testing. If you do infographics, you can also add the nested dashboard to infographics. But you cannot save the infographics as a story. But if you want to go for your presentation a little bit of beyond, like if you're an A student, well, no guarantee, but if you want to go a little bit more, it's nice and convenient when you're presenting this whole data here. And you can look at it. What are those? Those are actually the drivers, right? So I'm looking at the key drivers here. And that's why I have a decision tree here for a reason, because I can see, I probably want to look at the combination of location code and vehicle class. Oh, wait a minute, I probably want to look at the location class, vehicle class and coverage. See, I'm looking at I pick those drivers in here. Is this like a marital status? And just going by the drivers. This is one of the drivers, right? So I just select and it will adjust this whole visualization. And I'm gonna know that, take a look at this. In the urban location, we don't have a single with extended coverage type for luxury cars. There are no singles, so we can't really look at that data, right? well, etc. NA means that there is no data that applies to that specific selection. And what's a selection in this case? It's a single, right? And it's an urban location type, extended coverage type, and then you look at the luxury car, see? So basically, Caesars, you have this visualization on the right-hand side that you always use as a reference, and you navigate through different drivers on the left-hand side in different selections, right? But if I selected here employed, it's not gonna filter this tab to employed. It's only filtered by marital status. Oh no, it does. Sorry, it does. It actually does. Do you know why it does? Because all of this is located on the same tab of the outer dashboard. See, so it was filtering also by, see this, if I do this, yes, I'm filtering by marital status, but I have to watch what I'm doing here. I'm also filtering, am I also filtering by employees? No, but this is filtered by marital status. See this? This tab is also filtered by marital status. Why? Because all of this lie within the same tab of the outer dashboard. See that? So if I filter this by marital status, it will filter everything by marital status. Just know this. If I filter it by employment status, it's going to filter everything. This chart here and all of these tabs will also be filtered by employment status. Why? Because this is a dashboard that lies inside this tab of the outer dashboard. So if you filter one visualization, it's going to filter everything. And also, if you add the filter outside, like if you go to here, and if you add a filter here, it will filter the nested dashboard also, not just the outer dashboard. It will filter the nested dashboard also. Okay, but what you could also do is see this. I'm gonna unfilter it. Right? And this one also, everything is unfiltered. If I go here and if I filter something here, right? Like I selected only rural, it will filter everything in here also. See this? See, it filtered location code to rural because I applied to filter. I applied one data point in the right-hand side. It's gonna select. It's gonna apply filter to all these visualizations here. Is this because if I click on this visualization, you're gonna see it's filtered by location code. See, so that's what it means. But data points are connected. All of these guys here are on the same tab of the auto dashboard. That's why. Okay, this works in a very interesting way. See, sometimes I want to be applying filters in one, and I want to keep this guy here as a reference. And you can have up to 3 levels of nesting, okay? So what I did was I spelled it out for you in a slide. So this is the widget located where you would use it if you want to try this thing, okay? This is just an example. I put an example here. Now this is the gift, the videos. Not sure if you, oh well, I hope most of you already watched, but there are some videos on a dashboard and there are a couple videos on stories, okay? No videos on the nested dashboard yet because, well, I briefly showed this topic last semester, but this is the first semester when I'm actually showing it more in depth because this is a new feature. It was recently added in the versions that we're using right now, okay? So why not to take advantage, right? Okay, now it's your turn. Questions for me? Any questions, guys? Please, please, please. I like to see questions. The more the better. Anything. And you guys remember, right, what's going to happen when semester ends within a couple of weeks? So if you have an incomplete, you will need to talk to your instructor to inform me that you need the access longer, or if for any reason, if you need access past the semester end, no problem. Just inform me and I'm gonna make a note, and no issues. I have no issues. Okay? But it needs to be documented. Okay? So anything for me? Any questions for me, guys? Please, please, please don't hesitate to ask questions. Okay? And again, you're gonna have the slides. I'm gonna email everything to your professors, okay? And they're going to post it in a classroom. All right? Any questions? Waiting, you may unmute yourself also. Okay. What's gonna happen after the semester? The university has a protocol that requires purging the account. But if you need to access longer, then you're just gonna ask the professor to let me know. Okay, no worries. All right. Oh, you don't export the story as a file. You export the dashboard as a story. That's what I mentioned. You export the dashboard as a story. You don't export the story as a file. It's dashboard exported as a story. Okay, cool. Well, yes, I hope it may. I hope it. Well, it will make this one. It's more like the more you try to play with it, the more you see it. You see what I'm saying? This is and this is like endless. The more I do it, the more I. Yeah. Oh, you can select the color in a pie chart. So let's do this. Excellent. Let's do this. So let's see. I'm going to save this and I'm going to close this. So let's see what we can do with a pie chart. All right. Oops, what happened? Okay. So in the my content, what happened? Hmm. Oh, I may have filtered something. Hold on. I did something. I filtered. Oh, yeah, that's here. It's here. So I created this card dashboard today. Let's go back, and this is the pie chart, right? Here's a pie chart. Let's look at the, first of all, I have to be in the edit mode, right? I selected this visualization. So let's go to the properties. Oh, and this is the colors. Let's see, element color. Let me select this magenta. Oh, oh, I can change color palette here. I can change color palette. Let's see, I selected cyan. It's gonna be different. This is how you can change it. You can just change this palette. That's all pretty much.
Yeah, actually, my question is that can we select the color for individual segment in this pie chart?
Oh, that's a good question. Nope, it won't let me do that. Oh wait, element color. See this? I selected this element color. Let me try. Blue. Nope, it's not doing it. Nope, I tried.
Yeah,
You
because
saw me try.
normally, like in a PowerPoint or Excel or Power BI, like in it, we
Mm-hmm.
can always choose the color for each
Select.
segment. So here it
Yes.
doesn't allow me to change.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to do this here. Maybe something in here. Color by customer. You can add a rule. You can add a rule. And the rule could be, well, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see. Select a rule, let's say less than, and let's say value less than 10%. Oops, less than 10%. Well, I'm trying. Oops, 10, right? Then you can try the fill color. I'm just trying. Nope, not doing it. It's not. I would have to play around, but I would say no. It's not letting me do this. Nope. Well, each software has its own limitations, right? It has limitations. I cannot change the color of specific state. It won't let me see. No, I've tried. I've tried element color. It won't do it. Nope. See, sorry, it cannot. But before I can say that it cannot be done, I want to try to see if it's done. If it can be done, right? Nope, not letting me, sorry. I hope I answered the question, did I?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you. Got it.
Sure. If it cannot be done, then it cannot be done, right? But I wanted to make sure before I say no. Hmm. Anything else, guys? This is excellent question. And if I ever find how to do this, then I will, but no guarantees. Yeah? Any other questions, guys? Please ask. I like questions because sometimes I learn something too. A lot of properties, lots of things you can keep playing with. Anything I can help you with. And you may unmute yourself actually if it's easier for you.
Yeah, there is a one question I missed. I was doing some of the visualization. So um, when I try to select analytics, it works on some of the
Mm-hmm.
visualizations and it doesn't work on some of them.
Oh, yeah, it depends on visualization type and what it shows. Yep, like when I selected this one, yes, it does not show analytics. That's right. Because it's only suitable for some visualization type. Nope, see this? It's not. It depends on visualization type. So let's see, analysis, I would have to look because see this? It's not. It depends on a visualization. For some of them, it shows, for some of them, it does not. Like this one, this is just the table, right? But let's see if it shows something. This one, narrative insights. Oh, there we go. See, for this pie chart, I see the narrative insights. I selected analytics and it shows narrative. It depends on visualization type again. See this? I see it was a pie chart, narrative. So that's one thing, right?
So do we have a list of the visualizations where this analytics works and does not work?
Well, I don't have such a list, but you would need to look at the individual visualization. It depends on what's being visualized, I think. Oh, see the suggested insights? And see this, it gives me 6. You would need to look because first of all, before you create visualization, you need to decide for yourself what you want to see, right? Like see, like for this one, this is just the chart, right? That one is not, but it does show for the pie chart. Let me try something else. Let me close this out. Let's see, where is it? That's a claims and weather dashboard. Let me see what it's gonna do in here. Oh, look at this. Let's try this. Right now I'm in a view mode. I'm not in the edit mode. Narrative insights. See this? It shows for this one now. But if I look at this, nope, it won't show for the tables. It does not show for the tables, but it's gonna show for the pie charts. And maybe it's gonna show for the bar plots also. But not all visualizations it's gonna show, okay? Narrative insights. Okay, so we know it shows for the pie charts. Let's close this out. Let's take a look at the top dashboard example. Okay, so top dashboard example, this one I think it's gonna show. Okay, I selected this one, I'll go analysis. Well, we'll see. Well, this one it shows. Well, do you see this? It shows. But, oh, here, toggle insights on. Aha, take a look at this. It gave me more options here. See? I toggled the insights on and it shows me this insight on the visualization itself. Isn't it nice? See, you can toggle it on and off. And it also narrative insights. Some visualizations have it, some visualizations do not. This one might have it. This is just narrative insights. And then you can also toggle insights that you want to see labeled on the visualization itself. See? I hope it helps. Does it help?
Yeah, yeah, it's happening. So that's what I was trying to find, which visualization has that option.
Mm-hmm.
And other thing is, if you select that the bottom one, when you try to select the insights, the colors
Hmm.
will be gone, right? So
Which
if
color?
you, yeah, if you toggle that insights,
Ah,
yeah,
it's because yeah, it's showing this. It labels. It says
correct.
it's showing the average. You can toggle. You can turn certain insights on and off. See?
So I think what happens is that if you select the average value, if you select the toggle for average value, it shows the average, but the
Mm-hmm.
colors are gone. Because I was
Yeah, the
trying to get a
colors are gonna be
visualization where
gone.
I can have an average and at the same time I wanted to have a colors. But
It's
that
gonna be
was,
gone. It's gonna be gone.
yeah.
Unfortunately. Oh wait, let me see. I click on here inside. Oh, it opens this panel. Well, but then you have to turn it off. See, you would have to turn it off and keep only the narrative inside in here. So you have to make choice here, I guess. Welcome to the world of choices. Yes, the color will be gone because it's this it's showing the predictive strength. See, it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be gone. Oh wait, no, not necessarily.
No, it goes for the
Okay.
average value.
Yes, because it's gonna show the average. It's not gonna show yeah, it's gonna be gone. I know, unfortunately that's what it is. If I click average, yes, it shows average. Oh, but now the color stayed. Huh. That's interesting. The color stayed now. Maybe because I was by accident. Maybe because I was clicking on something. Let's see.
Or is it maybe meaningful difference? Okay, maybe I think meaningful difference is taking off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. It was that one, yes. Because it was trying to show the difference. Average, it should not be doing it. This should not be. But maybe when you do meaningful differences, then it's gonna do this. I mean, the color was still there. It was just not the fill color. Yeah. So I guess if you need to see this, right, you have to select the visualization. And it applies to visualization. So you've got the narratives. But again, when you're doing a presentation, you want to be yourself. You want to explain it in your own words. You're not going to copy this here exactly, right? You want to explain things in your own words. Trust me. And you might notice something that the software does not tell you. Well, if you look at it, I've seen many people use the same data, but if I was going to read the paper, I'm sure they're going to be different papers. None of the papers are going to be the same. So, yeah. Well, does it help?
Yes, yeah, that definitely, yeah. Thank you.
Well, but, I mean, if you have more questions, go ahead and ask. Everyone, please ask questions. Don't be shy. There's no reason to be shy. And I like students who ask questions. Seriously. Because that shows me that you were paying attention, that you were thinking, you know. Anything else? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, then I'm gonna call it a night, right? And you guys enjoy the rest of the course, right? So I'm just gonna go end the recording.